Starting next year, a quiet set of passport and ID rules will begin catching travelers off guard, and seniors are going to be affected more than almost anyone else. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because these changes are buried in fine print, phased in slowly, and rarely explained in plain language. Most people assume that if their passport isn't expired and their driver's license is still valid, they're fine. Unfortunately, that assumption is about to cost a lot of travelers their trips. This video exists to prevent that. Beginning January 1st, 2026, enforcement of several long-standing rules becomes stricter, while new systems roll out globally. Airlines, border agents, and airport security won't warn you in advance. They'll simply deny boarding, delay you, or send you home, often with no refunds. Let's start with one of the most expensive mistakes travelers make: the 6-month passport validity rule. Many countries don't care when you're coming home. They care about how long your passport is valid after you enter their country. If your passport expires within 6 months of your entry date, you may not be allowed to board the plane at all. This rule applies to dozens of countries across Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, and the Middle East. What catches seniors in particular is timing. A trip gets booked months in advance. The passport looks fine today, but by the time the travel date arrives, that expiration window has quietly crept into the danger zone. Airlines are required to enforce this rule before you ever leave the country. If they let you fly and you're denied entry, the airline is fined, so they won't take the risk. That means no boarding pass, no exceptions, and no sympathy. And because most of these tickets are non-refundable, travelers lose the entire cost of the trip. The safest approach is simple. If your passport expires anywhere within 6 months of your planned return date, renew it. Not later, not after this one trip. Renew it now. Next is a problem many travelers don't even realize exists: a passport that looks perfectly fine but is considered damaged. Modern passports contain RFID chips embedded inside the cover. These chips are scanned at immigration gates, airline counters, and increasingly at automated border systems. What many people don't know is that these chips can fail without any visible damage to the passport. Common causes include folding the passport, sitting on it in a back pocket, placing it near magnets, or carrying it loose in a bag where it bends repeatedly. From the outside, it may look brand new, but if that chip doesn't scan, the passport is considered defective. Starting in 2026, more countries will rely heavily on automated e-gates that require a functioning chip. If your passport doesn't scan, you may be pulled aside for manual processing, or worse, denied entry entirely. Seniors are particularly affected because many carry passports for years, often stored in wallets or purses that bend the cover. The safest habit is to keep your passport flat in a protective sleeve and periodically test it at an airport kiosk if possible. Now let's talk about domestic travel, because even flights within the United States are about to change. The Real ID requirement has been discussed for years, but enforcement is no longer theoretical. Starting May 2025 and moving into full enforcement by 2026, TSA will require a Real ID compliant driver's license or an alternative approved ID, such as a passport, to board domestic flights. A Real ID license is marked with a star in the upper corner. Many seniors still carry older licenses without this marking, simply because they've renewed by mail or never needed to update. What happens if you show up without Real ID? Best case, you're sent to secondary screening and delayed. Worst case, you're denied boarding entirely. For seniors who fly even occasionally, the simplest solution is to use a passport as your primary ID for all flights, domestic and international. It avoids confusion, avoids enforcement inconsistencies, and is universally accepted. Now we need to talk about Europe, because some of the biggest changes are happening there. Europe's new entry-exit system, known as EES, begins rolling out in late 2025 and becomes mandatory by April 2026. This system replaces traditional passport stamping with biometric tracking. Travelers entering and exiting the Schengen zone will have their facial image taken and 4 fingerprints recorded. For many older travelers, this process can be slower. Arthritis, reduced fingerprint clarity, or mobility issues can make biometric capture more difficult. The system doesn't adjust automatically, it expects compliance. That means longer lines, more questions, and potential delays at the border. Seniors should plan to arrive earlier than usual at European airports and calmly inform officers if they have medical conditions that affect fingerprinting or mobility. This isn't something to rush or hide. Closely related to this is ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Starting in late 2026, visa-exempt travelers, including Americans, will need ETIAS approval before flying to most European countries. This is not a visa, but a pre-travel authorization similar to the US ESTA. Seniors should apply at least 1 week in advance and keep both a digital and printed copy of the approval. Airlines will check before issuing a boarding pass. Another growing issue is reliance on digital ID. While TSA now accepts digital IDs stored in Apple Wallet or Google Wallet at select airports, this system is not universal. Acceptance varies by airport, terminal, and even by individual checkpoint. Seniors who rely solely on a digital ID and leave their physical license at home risk being turned away. Phones die, apps fail, systems go offline. TSA will not accept excuses. Always carry a physical ID, preferably a passport, even if you use a digital version as a backup. Medication rules are another area where seniors are losing items unnecessarily. Liquid medications over 3.4 ounces are allowed through security, but only if they are declared. This includes prescription liquids, medical nutrition, saline solutions, and some over-the-counter treatments. The mistake many travelers make is leaving these items buried in a bag without declaring them. TSA agents don't assume medical necessity unless you tell them. Undeclared liquids are often confiscated automatically. The solution is simple. Separate medical liquids, declare them clearly, and be prepared for additional screening. Bringing a prescription label or doctor's note can help, but the declaration itself is the most important step. Finally, there's the blank passport pages rule, a rule that surprises even experienced travelers. Many countries require 1 to 4 completely blank passport pages for visas and entry stamps. It doesn't matter if your passport is valid for years. If there aren't enough blank pages, you may be denied boarding. Seniors often keep passports for a long time, accumulating stamps from previous trips. What looks like plenty of space may not meet entry requirements. Check your passport now. If you have fewer than 4 blank pages, start planning for renewal, even if the passport hasn't expired. All of these rules share one thing in common. They aren't new laws announced with fanfare. They're enforcement changes, system upgrades, and policy shifts that travelers are expected to already know. Airlines won't warn you, booking sites won't flag it, and by the time you find out at the airport, it's usually too late. The goal isn't fear, it's preparation. Travel should be something you look forward to, not something that surprises you at the worst possible moment. A few quiet checks now can prevent cancelled trips, lost money, and unnecessary stress later. If you're over 60, or if you help a parent or grandparent travel, these details matter more than ever. Knowing them puts you ahead of the system instead of at its mercy. Fly informed, fly prepared. And make sure the documents you trust today won't be the reason your next trip ends before it begins. If this video helped you avoid a mistake or clarified something you weren't aware of, please give it a like. It helps the video reach other travelers who could really use this information. And if you want clear, honest updates about travel rules, airline changes, and things that aren't always explained well, consider subscribing. We focus on helping travelers stay informed, confident, and prepared before they ever reach the airport. Thanks for watching, and safe travels wherever you're headed next.